Second Lieutenant Al Cox is element lead. On Cox's wing is Captain Ralph Parr.
The weather was absolutely beautiful. If it had been just slightly clearer and you could have got slightly higher, you could have seen Paris. The visibility was so good.
But the stillness is shattered in an instant. A flight of MiGs bounces them from 9 o'clock high. Parr spots the attackers and calls a left brake, but the lead element brakes right. In an instant, flight integrity is compromised. Flight lead orders Cox and Parr to withdraw and form up. Parr keeps his eyes peeled.
As I was sweeping with my eyes to the lower right, I spotted a movement against the coloration of the ground. I called it out as a bogey, and Cox came right back and he says, "I don't have it. You take it. I've got you covered."
The MiG is heading in the opposite direction, far below him at treetop level. It's Parr's first chance for a kill. He wings over to intercept the MiG with a split S. In the maneuver, Parr will dive, reverse direction, and drop in behind the MiG. The speed his jet builds in the dive will easily allow him to close the distance on his enemy. Parr snaps his plane over and firewalls the throttle. The move is so sudden that Cox doesn't see where Parr is headed.
He called me and he said, "I've lost you. Which way did you go?" I said, "I went straight down. Come on down, see if you can find me."
He rapidly accelerates past 670 miles per hour, cracking the sound barrier. It's not uncommon for the Sabre to pass Mach 1 in a dive, but its flight controls are ill-equipped to deal with these speeds.
The F-86 came around in an era when we were breaking the sound barrier and understanding transonics and what went on with airplanes when they did go supersonic. And in a dive approaching supersonic speeds, the flight control surfaces will be far less responsive, and it may be not possible to recover from a dive.
Parr knows that the Sabre needs 14,500 feet to pull out of a vertical dive, but he's already dropped below 10,000 feet.
In the new jet age, things just get away from you. The speed builds up, and there's no way you can dissipate it because you don't have the aircraft controllability to slow your airplane down at that point. Even with idle boards, he's rocketing this jet at the ground at roughly 600 knots, 700 miles an hour roughly. And he's there, and he's about to die.
June 7th, 1953. Captain Ralph Parr is diving towards a MiG-15 that is hugging the treetops. Parr's biggest concern isn't the Bandit, but terra firma, rushing up at him at 1,000 feet per second. Self-preservation is now the only thing that matters. Parr pulls back on the stick, hard. He grunts like a weightlifter to keep from blacking out. The pull of 9 times the force of gravity instantly inflates the G-suit, gripping his abdomen and legs. For a moment, his body weighs 1,400 pounds.
I suddenly realized, breathe. You're not breathing. Well, the reason I wasn't breathing is my G-suit had swollen up due to the G-load in the pullout, and I couldn't get any air in my lungs.
The horizon slowly slides into view outside his windscreen. Parr is alive by only inches. He's probably bent the airplane, but he's still flying. The MiG is now directly in front of him, still hugging the ground. Parr is gaining rapidly. Then, a shattering realization.
I looked straight ahead, and I could see one aircraft. Within a split second, I could see 2, I could see 4. The 4 multiplied into another 4, and then the other 4 multiplied into another 8.
Parr discovers that there are 16 bandits off his nose. He's on his own. The usual tactics don't apply. He'll rely on skill and pure guts to get out of this alive. He singles out the leader of the 8 MiGs out in front.
I'm going to take the lead aircraft because he's got the most experience and cut the Indians loose rather than the other way around.
Still carrying a 100-mile-per-hour speed advantage from his hair-raising dive, Parr closes quickly within 3,000 feet, gun range. He squeezes the trigger. The MiGs scatter. The MiG leader lifts his nose and brakes hard right. Parr throws the stick over to stay with him.
With the onset of G, the speed, it's a very athletic endeavor to get yourself into a dogfight. To go from weighing 190 pounds to 1,300 pounds in a split second, and having that 1,300 pounds of weight on you for 30 seconds is unbelievable.
Parr strains to keep his head upright and eyes outside.
I was somewhere between 9.5 Gs, and my light on my gun sight, the reticle and the pipper, disappeared.
Either a fuse has blown or a circuit breaker tripped. Not surprising, given the abuse thrown at the Sabre in the last 60 seconds.
It was irritating. You're expecting to use it, you're depending on having it there, and all of a sudden it quits.
There's no time to dwell on it. Parr's on the verge of overtaking the MiG. His worst mistake would be to overshoot. He cuts the throttle to idle, pops his speed brakes, and does a half roll to bleed off airspeed.
To keep from overshooting him, I came up and left it in close to him, so we wound up pretty much canopy to canopy like this.
MiG leader counters Parr's move. He's no slouch. The 2 silver jets begin an incredible aerial ballet, twisting around each other, barely 500 feet from the ground. It's called a rolling scissors. The object is to bring your guns to bear on your opponent by forcing him to slip out front. The only way to do that is by gradually reducing airspeed to the razor's edge of sustained flight.
I was looking down through his canopy, and I could see his feet. I could even see the laces in his boots.
Parr uses stick and rudder with just enough throttle. The MiG does the same. It's energy management in the extreme. Coordination is key. Someone is bound to slip up. It's the MiG pilot. He adds a little too much throttle in the roll and moves ahead of Parr.
I thought, friend, that cost you. And I booted outside rudder, outside aileron, and tried to slide in behind him. The next thing that went through my mind is, I'm going to hit him.
Parr's heart